some weeks the intro sounded for some reason like
That's lower? Oh.
like just based on where you're at.
Yeah.
Like you want red wine, chill.
Yeah, it's a chill vibe on this chill vibe. Hey, welcome to Between the Sheets.
Welcome back. Your dreams were your ticket out.
Gotta cut it there. I don't want to get a copyright strike.
Mr. Gotcha.
Hey,
that was a good idea, wasn't it? I was like,
yeah.
oh, well.
He's like,
Cheers
here's the Kelly
and-
Welcome Back song. I'm like,
Cheers and welcome back. Yeah, I couldn't get it on the system because of a technical issue, but we just hardwired it into the system.
Yep.
So welcome back, Kelly. That's Clint
Thank you.
Moses. I'm Paxton Eugene, and you know what? Yes. So, I'm so happy to play with Kelly on the ones.
I'm blushing.
Thank you guys for listening this week, and welcome back to Kelly behind the ones and twos once again.
Kelly Cotter.
Kelly Cotter.
He needs a few more nicknames.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. That's what he needs.
Kelly
So-
Cotter and the Mayonnaise Marauder. Sounds like a gang, though, doesn't it?
well, it sounds like a Smokey and the Bandit situation.
Yeah.
Or a Green Hornet. So last week and the week before, we had two guest producers, and we put them through a proper hazing. They did well. They were super fun. But I just told them, I was like, hey, just come in and run the cameras. And then when they got here, I was like, all right, take a seat. I'm going to run you through everything. All right, we're going to take two PD70s, run them through the ISA-4. I want you to really ramp down the high-pass filter on that. If the compressor gets a little breathy, I want you to turn the attack down and maybe the release up a little bit. All of these are actual terms. And they're like, wait a minute.
I was downstairs and Edo was like, ugh.
He goes, are any of those cameras? I was like, no, we haven't gotten to that part yet.
I'm like, ugh. Should have just chucked those two twisted teas.
Yeah. Which, those twisted teas, like, secretly get you drunk real quick.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they're twisted that way.
And 2 in, 4 out for my urination thing.
2 in, 4
2 in, 4 out.
Are you peeing back in the can?
If I could.
But not into the hole, though.
Yeah, I don't want to cut the tip, you know.
You already cut your tip once.
Yeah, I've done it.
Well, I meant by when you got
The moil?
circumcised.
Yeah.
The moil.
So Kelly was exploring an opportunity in the education space.
As a moil.
Yes. Just was presented with an idea from a friend of mine who's in the biz, and thought that might be right, or at the very least explore the idea. So I went and talked to the principal, and it was more like she basically gave me the low down and dirty of what it's like to be a middle school teacher, because that's what it's
Middle school.
Yes.
Middle school.
6th, 7th, and 8th graders.
The best years when kids aren't going through any kind of hormonal changes.
We were talking about that
Exactly.
before the podcast. I was like, think about it like this. Most of the monumental changes in your body and physiology.
6th, 7th, 8th grade.
And then when you're in elementary school, you don't care who you are. You're just like, I'm picking boogers and having fun, right? When you're in middle school, all that stuff starts to change. You don't know yourself at all. When you get to high school, you're kind of like, all right, I'm cruising.
Yeah.
But middle school is the
chaos.
It's when you find the clothes style you're going to wear for the rest of your life.
yeah, right.
Unbeknownst to you.
Yeah, unbeknownst to you. Yeah.
But yeah, junior high still smells the exact same as it did 40 years ago for me. Now probably even longer than that. You know,
Don't date yourself. There
Is it like a?
There
is
is
it-
a smell to a school.
it's
though.
like like bleach and sweat and
clay and paint,
yeah,
sawdust.
Yeah,
that powder they put on the ground when a kid tosses the apple juice up.
yeah. There's just a certain smell.
Well, see, we used at my hood ass schools, I guess, because we didn't have fancy powders for that. But when kids threw up,
Sawdust.
yeah, the old janitor would come in like, God damn it, with a bucket of sawdust and just
Least favorite part of his day absolutely had to be.
soak all the Doritos and apple juice up.
But yeah, it's intriguing, I mean, you get time off, considerably more than I would have with any traditional job, and it's kind of like a year-round schedule. So the longest break would be like 6 weeks during the summer,
Yeah.
and all that. But you get, you have your teacher work days, but you get a considerable amount of free time off.
Sure.
You work like 202 days a year. or
Yeah,
something.
it's not bad.
Well, and you're kind of the relief to kids if you were an art teacher.
Yeah, I mean that's the idea. I mean that's how the lens I viewed it through when I was back then. I mean I enjoyed that class, and,
Yeah.
it is a screw off class for the majority of kids.
Sure.
But
But
because
some of those kids really love and need art class.
Yeah, I agree. So there's a template to follow. It's not like I'd have to get accredited and all that as the year went on. I get certifications, I guess.
So you could start before you got your certification.
Yeah, as long as it's all in conjunction, and I'm doing both. It's a lot to consider. Even with a roadmap, I've never taught a class in my life. You know, I've shown some graphic designers how to do things,
But not
but
12,
not corral
14-year-olds.
Yeah, corral 120 kids a day, and it's a semester class, so halfway through the year you start with a whole new batch and start all over again.
I think that's probably better.
It could be great or terrible.
Yes, but I have no predetermined idea of what it's going to be like.
It's got to
but-
be easier to get kids back from Christmas break than it is to get them back from summer break.
Yeah.
Summer break, they're like, I don't want to be here. Christmas break, they're like, that's got all kinds of cool shit.
Well, I
Yeah,
think that's
right.
probably why they did this kind of different schedule now, as opposed to giving them 2.5, 3 months off like when I was a kid. Now it's the
Our
longest-
summers were like nearly 3 full months.
Yeah,
It used to. I mean, I recall Memorial Day to Labor Day. You go back the week before Labor Day.
Yeah.
So your kids had a full week, and then the next week they had a day off.
Yeah. So, but anyway, it's something to consider. I'm thinking about it, but that would involve a big change. And
Well, I mean, any opportunity for you to, make a change if you want to. I mean, just something to explore.
yeah, but
My-
I've been flattered to be even consider something like it. So,
My middle school art class, there was 3 really giant tables. So there's probably like 22 students or something like that. So like 6 or 8 per giant table.
yeah.
And I sat at the table with the Beat Boys.
Yeah.
These big tables would boom.
You can knock on those big because they're sturdy.
And we would all get in unison and just
Little drum circle.
oh
going
man,
on.
it was like the first
Just jack off.
It was the first drum circle I ever attended.
It all started there.
It all started there. Middle school,
I
Myers
have
Middle School.
No memory of middle school art at all. Now,
Barely.
elementary school art, Mr. Eminette at May Howard. He was missing one of his digits. He cut off in class one time, lopped a finger off doing something.
Oh, I wonder if it was the the thing that cuts a clean edge off the edge of
the
a paper.
paper,
I have one
maybe.
downstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big machete, baby.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Cut a clean edge off his finger, but he smelled like patchouli. He was, because my sister works at the same.
Before you knew
what
what patchouli was,
yeah, it was just that I related that smell to him. And I was
Yeah.
like, why are you wearing Mr. Eminette's cologne?
that's like the first time I smelled weed in real life. I was like, did my brother's car just pull up? Because I remember getting in his car. I was like, that's a weird cologne.
It's also foggy in here. But I remember like doing the Egyptian mask. Where you put the you make like an Egyptian mask kind of. So you have someone lay down and you make it layers and layers of
Oh,
gauze
with
and
the
stuff.
plaster Paris or
Plaster
whatever.
Paris, yeah, and you have to make your own mask.
See, I don't remember
Guess
any.
who couldn't sit still long enough for his mask to take effect?
I wonder.
Oddly, I couldn't not stop moving my mouth.
I don't remember one thing of art that I did. All I remember is beating on the table. I mean, that's art in some sort of way. It's music.
That's art. That's
But
art.
in music class, they had me playing the fucking saxophone, and I couldn't. I said,
Nobody can play the saxophone in middle school.
Play drums, damn it.
Unless you're Mike Fahey, no one else is getting that shit down.
shout out to Sprayhe, man. Good dude.
Yeah. So, anything cool happen this week to you?
Oh yeah. So we're kind of light on Karens this week because we did the night of a thousand.
Night of 1,000
Karens.
Karens was last week, so
So
we
in
want to
this-
bring back the White Walkers.
Yeah. So in the second half, we'll probably be more like on the positive side, but this could be viewed as a Karen, but it's more personalized to me.
Karen potential.
Karen potential. So here in the house, I have a roommate, and my roommate has some family, and sometimes the family visits, but they call ahead.
We're not really a drive-by location. Like, hey, I was just swinging by the Tybee. You have to be coming here to come here.
Especially they live out in the country,
Yeah.
so it's not like they just swung through. It's impossible.
More on that later for me.
So, oh yeah, I remember that from last night. I think so. About 3:30, I'm getting in the shower. I'm in the bathroom, about to get in the shower to get ready for work on Saturday, and I hear ding dong, ding dong. I was like, "Who would be coming by here?" Travis will get it. I'm already like committed to about to be taking a shower.
You're not putting your pants back on.
Yeah, exactly. No, yeah, I'm
You
pot
barely wiped
committed.
your ass. You don't want to put your pants back on.
I'm pot committed. So I take my shower, and I definitely take my time a little more, just in case it was someone like, I don't know, anybody, really.
It was someone.
So I came out of my room about like 4:10 or something, and Travis comes up. He goes, "Hey, did you hear a lady's voice in here?" I was like, "I heard a doorbell ring, but I was getting in the shower." He goes, "I think it was my cousin."
But
I was like, "Well, did she?" He goes,
was she on the way over?
he goes, "No one called me." I was like, oh, okay. Walk out to go to work, and I see a gray Mercedes parked over in the side yard. So I'm looking around, but there's no one here. Travis and I pretty much leave for work about the same time. Come back home that night, gray car's still here. Someone's downstairs sleeping. So I was like, okay, it must be, obviously oh no, actually, I went to work that night. And Travis came by. He goes, "Hey, that was so and so. She's gonna stay in my room downstairs. Is that cool?" I was like, "I mean, I guess. I don't know what else to do."
Yeah.
Like,
No.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, no.
No.
I don't care. I'm
can sit in my
upstairs.
bed.
You know, I'm upstairs. Like, I'm good. So the next morning, not the next morning, the next afternoon, when I come out of my room, I walk into the kitchen. I open the refrigerator, and I notice this big pot that I haven't seen in like a year because it's one of those big like copper pots that they used to sell on infomercials with the tall sides, but it's square.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
You know
yeah.
what I'm talking about? It's like you can't saute with it,
Huh.
but it's got a big
It's a
handle.
stock pot.
Yeah, but it's got the lengthy handle, not the two side handles. It's got the handle of a frying pan, but it's square
Yeah.
Okay.
with tall sides. And I was like, I haven't seen that in forever. And I looked inside of it, and there's like some sort of like pasta dish or whatever, right? Close the refrigerator, look over in the sink. The sink has more dishes in it than I've ever seen in my life.
Dishes you don't even own are in there.
And I was like, where did those come from? So I was like, oh, she must have like
Cooked something?
washed all of those things because they were all piled on one side of the sink. And I was like, because there's no way that she used all of that shit to cook what ended up in this.
So now I'm going back into the pot and be like, I'm eating some of whatever this is. To see.
100% did that.
How was it?
It was all right.
Yeah.
It was like a chicken Alfredo pasta sort of thing. So then I go start discovering, I'm like, she used 5 bowls, 2 other pans. I was like, then I look over.
And you eat it, you're like, this is not worth it.
No, I could have done this in that pot.
Yeah.
Then I look over, and something that I ration a lot are paper towels because I never remember to buy them. People just bring them over like Kelly
Oh,
and
man.
Clint.
Did she just burn?
There's a brown roll on there now.
Just burn through them all? Didn't replace them? And they're not expensive, but when you need a paper towel and you go to get one and it's not there, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, hell no.
So that got me thinking. I was like, all right, I go visit my friends a lot. They know that I'm coming though.
yeah, especially you.
So then there's an etiquette. All right, so we live on the beach. So I know that we have it pretty good. So if people are coming down, I know it's expensive, you know, sometimes hard to find a spot down here, even if it's an Airbnb during the summer. So I'm open to, you know, have guests because, you know,
Sure.
whatever. Just let me know first. So I was like, whenever Clint and anyone comes over, and whether we're doing the podcast or not, and we like cook or
Yeah.
anything, we're all cleaning at the same time pretty much.
Yeah.
And if you were alone here,
You would clean up, you clean as you go.
actually, I mean,
Pasta takes time to cook.
just in the moment.
Right.
So I was like,
You
oh.
just stand there and stare?
Yeah, I was just like, she was gone at that point. She like went to the beach or something like that. I was like, okay.
How old is this cousin?
Probably 30s, maybe. I don't know.
Seemed like it.
Are you going up or let down there? Lower 30s, upper 30s? Black don't crack. It's hard
Yeah,
to
that's
tell.
what I'm saying. I don't know. So maybe like early 30s.
Okay. 32.
Old enough to know to do dishes while they're cooking.
Well, I was like, well, I had to go to work that night. So I was like, oh, well,
When I-
maybe when I get home tonight, all that stuff. Because I assumed she would probably have to go back on Monday, you know, because people have to work during the week. And she had left by the time I'd gotten up on Sunday or on today. And I walked over, still the pile of dishes. I was like,
So now you have to be like,
I had to do, there's still dishes in there because I spent like 30 minutes.
oh,
doing-
you had to do them?
Yeah, I mean, who else is going to do them?
Probably some dried on stuff.
The
there,
person
too.
who invited,
She was gone.
No, the person who was like, hey, this is my guest. You would think, you know.
Well,
not
whatever.
throwing stones,
But
I live in a glass
But it
house,
got me thinking of like, we had some friends let us, they went to Amsterdam and we went and stayed at their house in Atlanta. It was me and you.
Yep.
And Coat. We went and stayed at their house. We didn't even make a mess because we weren't like cooking or anything
Yeah.
like that. But we brought them weed cookies to leave there for them.
Yeah.
I installed a child's
Yep,
toilet seat.
yep.
I've told you that
Yeah, we
before.
definitely left it in better shape. No, honestly, shape than, you know, but we
That's
were
the
very
thing.
respectful.
If someone lets you stay at your house for free, you leave it pristine when you
Yeah.
go.
And when you go out of town, how often are you cooking at the place that?
That's also, I don't cook when I'm out of town.
That's
and
the
we
weirdest
barely
thing.
slept too. There wasn't a whole lot of sleep going
Yeah.
on because we were there, what, 2 nights, I
Two
think?
nights, I think,
Yeah, so we
yeah.
pretty much rode it.
When you're staying somewhere, you're only there to pregame and sleep.
Because
Or maybe eat like pizza delivery or something.
yeah, but when you're out of town, you typically eat out. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't,
But you can get food in the grocery store that's pre-cooked.
Sure.
but especially don't make a
mess.
one-pot meal
In
with
4 pots.
with 4 bowls.
And then,
after you came by unannounced. I talk about when I still lived on Tybee. back in the back ass end of Horsepen Point. So you have to drive. It's 2 miles down that road.
If you don't know where it is,
Yeah, you're not. And you're not just swinging by the homeless shelter, okay?
Yeah.
I'm sure that one lady gave my mom's house. So I can tell this now. My mom's house was in Horsepen Point, and when one day we were putting together the Wi-Fi, I was setting up the Wi-Fi for the first time. I looked around, and there's like 8 people that don't live there, that have never lived there, just hanging around in the morning, and I'm like, it's like a goddamn homeless shelter in here. So we made my mom's Wi-Fi the Tybee Island homeless shelter, where we would do check-ins sometimes or whatever on Facebook.
I would see the check-ins, and I was like, I thought it was a Google Maps. I was like, is it called the Tybee Homeless Shelter on Google Maps?
So we we're it's you're getting rusty. So anyway, so my mom's Wi-Fi at the Tybee Island homeless shelter, and one time I have to look at like the reviews for some reason. I was like, 1 star. This chick gave it a 1-star review. Couldn't find the homeless shelter. Where are you? I wanted to go volunteer my time. She drove to, there was a gate. She drove to the gate. It's like, it can't be behind this gate. So she gave the Tybee Island homeless shelter, my mom's house, a 1-star review. So then, not to be outdone, all of the homeless that stayed there spammed it with like, I bet it's got 20 5-star reviews and 1 1-star review to this day.
I'm trying to do charity. Now I'm going to give you a bad rating because I couldn't
Yeah.
find it. I'm charitable.
Here's
Here.
the thing. If you're next to the gate in the neighborhood, you can see the 4-H camp across the creek.
Right.
So you're going to like, oh, there's a bunch of kids over here, and you can see the 4-H stuff. So you're like, it's got to be near the 4-H camp because homeless and 4-H seems like they would work together. As long as their dicks aren't out.
Just a group of
Listen
people.
to last week's podcast. Dick Root Homeless Man. Fun. But like, it was just hilarious. But the thing is, people, when my mother passed, once in a while, someone that had the gate code would pop by. It's not you don't pop by in this day and age. You text or call. And one day, I may have told the story before, but don't care. I'm sitting on the couch. I'm in my underwear. Feet up on the table. I'm sipping a glass of wine.
Like the main couch upstairs.
Because my mom's not there anymore, so I'm smoking weed on the couch. You know, sorry, Mom, R.I.P. But hey, when you were gone, I got high in the house. And someone knocks at the door. I saw him. Saw the lights come on, camera went off, and I'm like,
This is the evening?
this is like 9:30 at night.
No, what?
Yeah, and like people like keep a later schedule. This is weeks after she's passed. Not like it's like you're coming by to be like, hey, how are you? But here's the thing: there's a phone in your pocket because they knock, they ring, face on glass. I am continuing to watch whatever movie I'm watching. I'm not stopping.
You're like kind of hoping that they do see you in there, not reacting.
They saw me in there. If you came to that house, that front window was not opaque. It was see-through. So you could see my ass just lounging up, feet up. They're just knocking on the door, haven't called, stopping by. And I'm like, so they call.
And you probably had a landline there, right?
I have a landline and a phone. So they call. I answer the phone immediately and go, what up, man? What's up with you? Hey, I'm outside your door. Oh, are you? So your phone does work. So you could have called or texted on this 6-minute journey down this road at 20 miles an hour. Like it's not a short drive.
Was it a visitor for you or?
It was a friend. It was a friend of mine, but someone that knows better than to just stop by. Actually, it was Travis's cousin. I'm here to make a mess.
That's what you call a callback, baby. He's like, hey, the pots and pans are over there. Yeah, go ahead. Go
Make a big
do
mess
your worst.
and leave it here. And make subpar food. Here's the thing. All right.
It better be the best carbonara I've ever had. If you're gonna-
As I sip my Clay Creek Vineyards red wine blend, you can discover what the blend is. It's a proprietary red blend. You let me know. Anyways, if I come to your house and I make, back to that in a minute. If I come to your house and like I cook, I sell cooked food, I sell smoked meats and stuff. If I come to your home and prepare a meal for you, I might not clean up because I've cooked for you. But I'm using the pots and pans appropriately and still cleaning as I go. Because I just need space. It clutters, disturbing. You clean as
especially
you go.
when you're cooking.
And you go, okay, this house doesn't have a dishwasher.
Having a clean work area.
So then all this can't be dried in one run. So let's get a start on the drying.
Sure, yeah.
Get some big things out of there. And you just need space.
When I thought about it, I was like, you know the phrase "dance like no one's watching."
Yeah.
Right. I was like, she was probably like, use dishes like you don't have to wash them.
These are disposable, pretty much. And it better be good. That's the thing.
You don't see that little plaque hanging in kitchens or.
If I somehow screwed up the food that I made, I would clean up everything. I'd be like, apologies. I'm sorry. I'll clean up.
Yeah,
but if it's bomb, I'm like,
if I'm cooking,
I'll leave the burner on sometimes. It's so good
yeah, it better be something fantastic. To
to just leave.
yeah, because you ever watch Alton Brown, Good Eats?
No, you watch cooking shows?
Yeah, of course.
You know what
Breaks down the
show I like to
chemistry.
watch?
What?
Ones where it's a whole It is a lot of sandwich.
That is a lot of sandwich. And Alton Brown, he would make the one that I watched that really stuck out to me. He made a chicken parmesan, which was literally just the chicken breaded with sauce and cheese on top. He probably used 40 dishes doing this thing.
Yeah.
I was like, he's using dishes because he's got a whole crew back there to wash up.
Yeah, he seasons in a different.
That's the
finger
worst
bowl.
cleanup, though. The worst cleanup is when Alton Brown makes a dish and you don't get to eat it here. And at least you're getting paid to do it.
Yeah.
But like, you didn't get paid to do it. You got to eat it. It wasn't good, and you still had to clean up.
Exactly.
Begrudgingly, like, this is what it is.
Oh, trust me, I got more to do tomorrow.
Hold on. Was there still pasta left when she left?
No, she used the whole.
She ate it all, too?
So she left
One noodle?
No, she left a stalk of broccoli.
Just the stalk, not the head? That'd be fucked up.
Oh God,
Just the root.
that would be amazing. Yeah, no, the whole branch.
I want to do that at somebody's house.
The whole
Peel the onion, use the onion, put the onion in it for banana, put the banana back on the rack, peel the banana while it's hanging, and leave it hanging. I'm going to try to do that, I think, this week.
Dangling participle. And then there was and half a sprig of parsley.
Expensive
Look at
things.
Oh, and a jar of prepared garlic.
The worst garlic. All right, so while we're
A
on
million things I won't
food,
use. Yeah.
I am going to make us a drink next time I don't have to drive home. Maybe when we do that. No, this won't work in a hot tub real well. But, all right. Banana pepper martini. And this is not a lot of fancy ingredients. This is vodka or gin. I'm going to do both just to see which one works out best. Olive juice.
Okay.
Shaken.
Okay.
And martini glass. Garnished with, instead of olives, banana pepper.
So you wouldn't use the banana pepper juice?
Oh, well, I'm going there.
Oh, I'm
I'll make
sorry.
one with olive juice and one with banana pepper juice. I'm going to have to practice this at home to make sure I get the ratios
Yeah.
right because I don't know the banana pepper to olive. And so, like, today I was like, are there other banana pepper cocktails besides margaritas? That's it.
Yeah.
You're out. I was like, what else can I make with banana peppers?
No,
'Cause you said you had heartburn today, so I didn't want to make it today. And I had to drive. I don't want to drink 2 martinis.
I'm glad you brought it up because I had a couple that would come in, and now I can't fucking remember what they were called, but it would be a shot of Jameson, and then as they're back, they would do banana pepper juice with hot sauce in it. Damn, man, we used to have a really great name for it too, but it was just like, it's like a pickleback, except it's kind of spicy because banana pepper juice,
Yes.
you know, it's basically pickle juice, but with a touch of spice.
Yep.
And before Ulysses the Ulcer came around into my life, I would do them with them. And for some reason, it just works to do pickle juice or briny liquid after Jameson.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's not even, as I look online.
Yeah, we
as I
made it
Google
up.
Jameson shit banana pepper juice hot sauce.
Well, because people do dead turtles as well, which is vodka, pickle juice together with a
Yeah.
splash of hot sauce in it, but you take it all at the same time.
All right.
Ooh, the hot and dirty martini is the banana pepper juice. I like that name, hot and dirty.
And I mean, literally, banana pepper juice is very adjacent to pickle juice.
Yeah, it's pickling juice.
Yeah.
So but it's just not as an olive juice. They're all pickling.
Olive's
just
kind of briny. Yeah, it's briny,
Brinier.
but it's like, I don't
So
love
I
a
like-
lot of olive.
I like
juice.
dirty martinis a lot.
Yeah.
I don't really like olives that much.
I don't love a lot of olive. I like
fancy
Black, I
olives.
like black olives.
I'm bougie.
Don't like
I'll do like
I like manzanilla. I don't like that.
I'm going past manzanilla and even the other one that's really popular,
that other one, yeah. Kalamata.
Kalamata. I want beyond that. I want fancy, like green olive, like nice, like Mediterranean green olives.
Sure.
But I don't want but like 2, 3. So when I get a martini, I'm only eating the olives because they've been soaking up some of my vodka, you thieves. So I'm getting my
Getting
my
that
vo-
back.
It's like that's one kind of frugal. Here's another kind of frugal that I don't like when you order drinks. Okay, look, you cheap old bastard. You're ordering a martini. Let me get that shaken ice on the side. It's not because they want to keep their martini cold. It's because they want to get every single milliliter drop of that vodka. It's always a cheap fuck. Does
Yeah.
it. Now, every now and then, a classy person does it. It's because they want to titrate the amount of
yeah.
alcohol, water it down some. But usually, it's someone that just wants to get, like, I'll watch them strain.
Literally every. Okay. I mean, all right. So people
You're
ask.
paying for it.
People ask me not to dump their ice out because.
seasoned ice.
Yeah, I mean, but I get that because when I drink.
I just don't need more ice.
When I drink bourbon rocks, with water, I kind of use the same ice for a little while. I might throw a couple more cubes on there, but it's maintained the temperature that I like and the amount of water that I like in it. So I get the concept, but it's not because I'm
But you get a martini on the rocks.
yeah. Is that even allowed?
Martini on the rocks?
What would Daniel Craig say about that?
Martini on the rocks is very allowed.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not a martini guy.
Yeah. Well, now they do it on the rock. No, if you get your bourbon on the rock, you just do a martini on it. It's just, vodka.
I love bourbon on the rock
Yeah.
because it melts at the
I like Chris on the rock.
hey you. It melts at the perfect timing. Like if you let it sit in the cup for like 5 minutes.
But you remember the first time you got one in a glass? Like in a glass, you were like,
Oh, of course.
I was I remember where I was, where I was at. I was in a steakhouse in Chicago when I went to Lollapalooza, and I was like, look, one night while we're going to Lollapalooza, we're going to have a nice dinner out. Timmy Wong was with us.
Yeah.
Sister was like, we're going to ball out a little bit. So we went and had some nice drinks, got dressed up. My vegetarian girlfriend was really happy about going to a steakhouse. That's your problem, bitch, not mine. I didn't make you do this. But I go, let me get a Kettle One martini. He goes, do you want it on the rock or on the rock? I was like, what do you mean on the rock? This is like 2009 or 10. And I was like, well, I'll have it on the rock. And I look around and I'll see people with the rock. And these ones were like, this is a nice steakhouse. So they boil the water.
Yeah,
get
yeah.
it was nice and
So
clear.
there's no bubbles in it. Yeah.
So it was the sphere. And I sat there and wiggled that thing down into a mushroom. To the point where everybody at the table was like, hey, man.
Hey, bro.
So then I was like doing it slowly. It's like when you're popping bubbles in a movie theater.
Remember
Personal name.
the jingly balls?
Yeah,
that you put in your hand and wringle around. That's sort of the same concept. Any sort of
not Benoit balls.
any sort of fidgety.
Oddly, never fidget spinner stuff. I just bite and chew nails and stuff. I'll play with anything in my hand.
Just chew straws.
I can do quarters and pencils on my hand real fast. I haven't done it forever. I used to be able to like with it because I had to fidget when I was a kid for some reason.
That's when I would beat on the desk quietly.
That's the thing. Like and when you get a little louder, it's like popping bubbles with bubble gum. You're like pop. And I was like hey, and then you're like pop.
So I watched this thing on Netflix the other day about Anna Nicole Smith.
Did you watch the thing or just watch clips?
I watched the whole thing.
Shut the fuck up.
And this moment that I sort of remember from back in the day because it was right around the time
Did she drown her husband or something?
or right before she got the reality show.
Okay.
So it turned. I knew she was on
That
like
was an early reality
yeah.
show.
I knew. Well, they put her on it because the Osbournes had just come out on MTV, and that was like the highest-grossing television show ever at that point, or something. Like
Because Real World was the first reality show.
Yeah,
and then like there was some kickoffs of that, but like the Osbournes did great.
Osbournes were the next.
UI did great.
And it was a dynamic family.
Is Ozzy Blake Curry's dad?
Very local
Sorry,
reference.
Jesus, didn't mean
Very
to
local
didn't mean
reference.
to dead name you there.
So, anyways, so I remembered this moment where she goes out on the AMAs or the Grammys. I don't think it was the Grammys. I think it was the AMAs.
But she never did anything. Like she was just a Playboy model, right?
Yeah, well, she was like in her early days in Mejia, Texas, spelled
She was
MEXIA.
like from Mejia, Texas.
Mejia. She was like a stripper and all that, and she left town, and then she got discovered somehow.
Okay, yeah. So, but
So
she
then
never.
she
But she was
put-
never an actress.
Well, she got two offers at the same time. One to do The Mask,
Vaginal and anal.
and to do Naked Gun. She had to choose one.
Yeah.
So they were going to pay her $50,000 to do The Mask.
And she did Naked Gun instead.
And she was like, "Nah, I'm going to get $500 for doing Naked Gun, whatever."
So she used to be Cameron Diaz.
She was so she was supposed to be the Cameron Diaz.
The movie
part.
would suck without
Yeah, it
Cameron
would have
Diaz in
sucked.
it.
Yeah,
Isn't that crazy?
yeah. So she was a guest
Better tits. though.
guest jeans model for a little bit. She modeled for like
She
more
was
than
she was a thick lady. She was one of the first thick
Yeah.
girls too.
for sure. One of the more voluptuous.
Very
ones.
Marilyn Monroe-esque, but
Yeah. And then she
more
really tried to
voluptuous.
own that Marilyn Monroe.
But she
thing
had
or
she
whatever.
had a lot more.
Yeah, she was more
a lot
hippie. Yeah.
girth in the girdle.
Yeah.
As they
So
say.
so she goes out. Her career's kind of going down. She's already married or started to marry the 90-year-old oil tycoon, whatever.
Yeah, true love. Yeah,
But she's not in the public eye necessarily. But she is.
this is when she was getting fucked up.
She was twisted. Methadone, every benzodiazepine you can think of, every opiate you
Do
can
you know
think
why
of.
Anna Nicole Smith was doing all those drugs? She had to suck that 90-year-old dick on a regular basis.
I don't think they ever coitused at all.
Oh, I'm sure she filleted him plenty of times.
Well, I mean, maybe slapped it around or something. But think about how old he was, man.
Viagra.
Yeah, whatever. I don't think that. Well, yeah, maybe that did exist. Then.
Viagra's been around for a while.
Well, anyway, so
That guy was probably eating rhino horns when he was like 60.
he was like, "Go back to China and give me some of them bird nests."
Yeah, if you're that rich, you're gonna get a boner.
Something's gonna. Yeah, you can make it mechanical.
Vacuums,
yeah.
Found
You
it.
just
Go gadget
you got a pulley?
peni.
Back in my cock. Yeah.
He's got-
You got a pulley. It's like,
So anyway, so she's in the depth of. She's not in the public eye anymore. because she's no longer like
Dick
model.
Pulley. Sounds like a good title. Sorry.
She's no longer model aged, you know.
Yeah, she's like in her 40s, right?
So now it's kind of no.
She let herself
She
go.
died at 40.
she let herself go though.
So she was
in her
like
30s.
32 at this point. So she's just on every drug. She's just spiraling. They get her to present Kanye West with an AMA or a Grammy or whatever.
Oh, when he got
it was like 2004 or something.
It was
like that.
for the college dropout.
She came on.
before he hated Jews.
She goes, I was just such a sexy producer. She entirely forgets why she's on the stage, and she reverts back to her like
Googie.
Marilyn Monroe-esque like
Behavior.
and.
And the thing is, her perception of Marilyn Monroe was kind of an idiot. Marilyn was not an idiot, but she portrayed her like she was an idiot because she was an idiot.
But the cringe factor, because I know what it's like to forget what you're doing on stage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I've flubbed a
Where
lot
am
of
I?
things. Yeah.
Well, she wasn't on acid though.
And I'm like, well, where's the where was my end point? You don't want to say the same thing
Yeah.
again as you're going. And I saw it in her. I was like, she forgot why she was up there and where she was.
So much worse.
And then she just starts, just reverting to the posing thing. And I was like, I'm getting like cringe chills.
You know
just
who felt
thinking
bad about it? Kanye West, who for all of his things has got his faculties together and he's direct.
Yeah,
He doesn't get lost too much.
Yeah.
As he's like spaced out about how to people with space lasers. And
How do magnets even work?
yeah. Jewish volcano space lasers. Kanye's next album. But he must have been like, come on. Was he up there with her?
He wasn't up there with her. No, that's the thing. She was out there by herself.
Oh gosh.
They put her on stage alone? No, they gotta give her somebody, right? 'Cause now they always do duos. for the
Number
most part.
one, they put her on stage alone. Number two, I would be surprised if they didn't like inject something into her.
I mean, give her that Donald Trump cocktail. Give her that fucking meth.
Yeah, give her
Get her going.
the Diet Coke and ADD medication insert.
And drug med. Oh, was it no stuff that they make meth with? Ephedrine.
Ephedrine.
No stuff. They make meth.
Stuff that's in meth.
But well, she got signed on to a diet pill thing.
Oh yeah, there you go. That speaking of ephedrine.
But she I don't think she was on them then because when
you calling her fat?
when she first started taking them, they lost her for like a week. They were like, where is she? She had went and met some she went through like a meth haze. She went and met some lady like 3 houses down from her in Malibu, and she walked up. She was walking the beach, and she could see a Marilyn Monroe picture from the
beach.
From the beach. So she walks up to it and knocks on the door, and this lady was like, "Hey, Anna Nicole." She's like, "I saw a picture of Marilyn Monroe in there. Could I stay here for a few days?" She goes, "Yeah." So she goes into the room. They find her like 4 days later. She hasn't drank water. She hasn't eaten. She's got a white ring from her nose down to under her chin because she was so dehydrated
Oh god.
that it was like
All the salt's coming
going
out.
in on itself. Yeah.
Oh wow.
So then, so then she flew to the Bahamas because she was trying to get custody of her son or her daughter, which she had with a dude that she hated.
Yeah.
And in the Bahamas, whoever's there to sign the birth certificate is the father.
So it could just be anybody.
Yeah, so she took Howard K. Stern down there with her.
Oh, nice.
Her lawyer.
Yeah. God. Yeah.
So
And,
he's the father. If
it's probably not hard to steal a baby in the Bahamas. Probably a lot easier than it is in.
I mean, maybe like
Didn't her son die also?
yeah, and then
He drowned, right?
No, he overdosed.
Yeah.
Oh.
He came to visit her after she had the little girl.
She died shortly thereafter, right?
She died like
If
a
you don't
month
like Anna Nicole Smith, sorry
it
about
was
this part
pretty
of the
bang
podcast.
bang.
This is-
As I remember it.
Well, I'm a little drugged up from this Clay Creek Vineyards Red Blend I've been drinking.
yeah.
Proprietary Red Blend 2021 from Lodi.
Lodi.
Definitely a lot of,
California.
there's definitely a chunk of Zen in this bad boy, though.
Oh, did you ever find out the blend?
No, but I can taste Zen. There's some cab in there.
Tasting notes. I like it.
There might be some Petit Verdot, but there's definitely cab in Zen.
When I taste it later, I'll let you know. Don't worry about it. All right, so coming up in the second half, we're going to have the writer's strike. We're going to talk a little bit about like maybe
I have a base line Karen.
Yeah.
Kinda, it's not really a Karen or a Darren. It could be a Karen or a Darren.
Yeah.
It's just general restaurant etiquette.
I like that. This is an etiquette episode because it's visiting your friends etiquette
Yes.
and then restaurant etiquette.
Attack of the etiquette.
Attack of the
Attack
etiquette.
of the etiquette. Attack of the etiquette.
All right,
Anna
we'll-
Nicole etiquette. All right, we'll come back in a
We'll
second
see
half.
y'all in a little bit.
Ever wanted to start a podcast? Don't have the equipment or the know-how? Well, we've got you covered. From Behind the Barcast is expanding into the commercial studio space. You see, step one is making sure you sound great, because no matter how good your content may be, people don't want to listen to something that sounds like this. From Behind the Barcast and Paxton Eugene Productions now offer in-studio audio and video production. Or the studio can come to you. We offer mobile podcast production from wherever you are. Now, with the hard part out of the way, there's no excuse for you not to get started. So if you're in the Savannah area, shoot us an email at FromBehindTheBarcast@gmail.com for details and a quote. Again, that's FromBehindTheBarcast@gmail.com, and let's get your voice heard.
And welcome back to everyone.
We
Especially,
could have sung it. I mean, we were gonna,
yeah. I don't know if you could, maybe get copyright strike for that. I think someone has.
I think we would. I don't think our
We don't have enough reach.
enough reach to get there.
What are 40 views on YouTube?
No, I meant enough reach. I don't meant musically. We can't hit the right notes. We're like, no. We want no one to know they're trying to sing our song. We just have to cease and desist, not copyright. They're like, dude, please quit.
You're butchering it.
It's not like people were telling Trump to quit using their music because they didn't want it to be associated with them. They're like, sir, don't do this to yourself.
Yeah, because you forget that you have to license all of that stuff.
Anything you play for a crowd
Yeah.
should be licensed, but not us.
Not us, baby.
Speaking of things you get licensed to, when you become an art teacher, we were discussing what Kelly's work prereqs would be, things they would give him to help with a job. Like,
Well, they said no sandals,
Yeah, no flip flops.
but you could wear.
Birkenstocks.
just the art teacher can.
Oh,
though.
yeah.
Nobody else can. So they give you your assigned pair of Birkenstocks.
It's like government issue Birkenstocks. Here's your Birkenstocks. Here's your patchouli.
The sandals you get in jail. They're not even worn.
Dude, Birkenstocks are so gnarly. Imagine getting secondhand Birkenstocks.
Third hand from an art teacher. Every time you step, it just smells the patchouli.
Kelly walked up and
Like, grow your hair out, sir.
they had a tape measure and they were like, let me see the length of that hair, buddy.
Yep.
How far past the ponytail? No, you got to wait another year.
Yeah,
Your hair's not long enough.
Yeah.
You smell too good. Hey, you're showering too much. Let me see your hands. Rip them things up. A good rough hand, like from a lady.
Flannel shirt
Gotta
with
love
the
that.
silver buttons.
But speaking of licensing things like music and stuff, there's a little thing going on right now, the writer's strike, and I knew, sort of that the thing was going on, and I had the idea that they're striking because they're not getting residuals / royalties, or not being compensated enough on the back end for productions that they've written. So they're striking, and what that has done is, and I just realized this by talking to a couple of people that work in production here, because Georgia's had a big boom in the past 5 years because of a tax thing. So a lot of productions have been happening here. So some people have come down to Tybee to work because they're not on the productions right now because of the writer's strike. And what Clint was explaining to me earlier, I didn't realize that.
So the basis of the writer's strike is they're asking for better pay and stability for writers, obviously. They want to restrict the use of AI in writing because you can tell ChatGPT to write, here's a premise, write this like I'm so-and-so, and they'll give you, and like comedians are using it to punch up jokes now. Like Martin Norman said he was in the green room with a guy who was like, he's like, I'm trying to figure out how this joke works. He goes, hold on. And he asked ChatGPT about the joke and it punched it up for him. And he was like, yeah, use this. He's like, I don't like this at all. But also, one of the more important things is pay and residuals for streaming content. So, Seinfeld gets streamed. He's getting paid. The writers from that show, him and others, are going to get residuals from that as well. However, a lot of those things, the pay licensing runs out after X amount of time. And so they want to still get, if Seinfeld's getting licensed now, just say only Jerry, Larry David, and the actors are getting residuals. None of the writers are because their time is run out. I'm not saying that show specifically, but with other shows, newer shows especially, they're not getting residuals after original air date. Like, when the show comes out and it streams through the first time, whenever they show it again, they're cut. And one of the rumors I heard was that HBO Max just switched from HBO Max to Max in order to prevent having to pay residuals and licensing for writers, to save them scraps of money, but again, screwing the writers.
Because writers have a different contract. They're like, so when they licensed Seinfeld to Netflix, right?
Yeah, they got
I think they got a chunk, right?
a shit ton of money.
But not residuals, just a contract for the license.
Right, but in that pay, do we know if someone went to the writers?
But we don't know if they went to the writers or not, which I would think and we're just using Seinfeld as an example, not knowing anything
Jerry,
about
we
it.
love you. Thank you for listening.
But I think that Larry David and Jerry would probably kick down
They
some
seem
cash.
like the kind of guys who can on cash. But you got to see some of those people, especially if the network owns the show and the rights to it.
Oh yeah.
Their bottom line. They're not thinking about anybody as a human. They're just thinking about the bottom line. So they're going to take that money and keep it.
Because as a writer, there's a lot of contracts where, Stan Lee came up with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But he did not own any Spider-Man.
Sony bought the rights to Spider-Man for $7 or $10 million in 1996. That IP is worth billions now. It's just Spider-Man and all related Spider-Man characters, which is why the Marvel universe is separate or whatever. Because the MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe, Disney owns the rights to X amount of characters.
But not Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Sony is Spider-Man.
They couldn't title a movie with the word Hulk in it until next year because Universal still had the rights to the Incredible Hulk. So Spider-Man and all Spider-Man related characters are owned by Sony, which is why Venom's over there. Yeah. And the Marvel owns the rights to almost every other character. There's certain characters they can't get licensed to because of the writer.
Yeah, that's why
so Marvel Comics itself, if you wrote something, you have end-all licensing basically as the writer. Like when they filmed Doctor Strange, there's an innocuous character they wanted to use, and the family of the man that created the character was like, no. Whatever amount they offered, they're like, no, so they had to make it a different character. And they're done. Whatever they offer, take it. But because they're not, now you got zero.
But there's other writing contracts where you're writing under the umbrella of a company.
You're right.
And as soon as you write it,
you're paid to write. You're not paid for what you wrote. But you're
exactly.
Paid to write. You're an hourly employee, basically.
A salaried employee.
You're contracted.
Yeah, contracted employee. Yeah, so you don't get anything on the back end. And then another interesting point that you brought up was productions can still go on.
There's a lot of so I keep up with Marvel comic stuff. So shockingly, the MCU universe and Star Wars stuff. Yeah, weird. New thing I'm doing here. And so in that, a couple of the news guys and stuff will have posted on their the pin on their Twitter page. Filming right now, in post, and paused. Filming soon, and where things are filming, so you can try to go to New York and find Daredevil getting filmed.
If you don't know, post is post-production.
Post-production, basically. So basically with Marvel stuff, there's a lot of post. So, but the shows and movies have been stopping and starting filming a lot lately because they can't. So my example is Deadpool 3. Obviously written by Ryan Reynolds and a bunch of and Sean Levy and some other guys. But what you can write, a script's already written. You can continue to film for the exact script that was written, but you can't ad-lib. You can't change a line because then you're writing. You're rewriting. So they can't change anything in any of the films that are being filmed right now with any rewrites.
Word for word.
What was already written in the contract. So you can't change anything. So like Deadpool, there's a ton of ad-libbing going on, obviously.
I was going to say any current comedy is probably 30% ad-lib.
Yeah, and I mean, and movies themselves, there's still a percentage of ad-lib. So all that's cut right now. You can't do any changing of the
Think
script.
about the HBO shows like you were talking about Righteous Gemstones.
Yeah.
Like most of those HBO comedies, so much of it was just on the spot.
It just someone starts ranting and let it go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's all out now. Even if you're Ryan Reynolds having written Deadpool 3, he can't change it because he works for the AGA as a writer. Everybody or the WGA as a writer. Everyone works for that company. So if you write,
so he can't cross the picket line, even though he's
filming and it's his content. He has a contract with the Alliance. And I'm all for the writers. Get your money.
Yes.
And as viewers, we won't notice this for about a year, maybe a year and a half, and there'll be some the Marvel stuff's on the schedule pretty well. So I'll notice that more than most. You're not going to notice if Indiana Jones 7 doesn't come out in time.
Well, it's a weird, antiquated system, and it's weird that the writers have just found enough gusto to start biting back against this because
they did it in 07 too.
And the music. Yeah, but they did. Obviously, they didn't.
That was a long strike too. It delayed a lot of stuff
in music. So back in the day, you signed with a label. The label owned everything. Like you were just getting fucked left and right. But that was because no one had the knowledge of. They were like, "Oh, I got signed." That's how
Ice Cube figured some of that out. Like Snoop was the first artist to ever get $1 per album sold. $1 and CDs were $16 then. So you got
that's called 10 points on the album. Yeah, there's 100 points. He got 10. That was like insane. So then music artists started figuring out like, oh, I don't have to go to a big label necessarily. I can keep all
Cash Money Millionaires.
I can keep my
Master P.
my
start my own label,
whatever.
Yeah. So now on Spotify, if you own your own publishing, you get whatever plays. You're getting something. It's
even though Spotify doesn't pay very well.
Spotify now buys like catalogs from certain artists, but if you're a non You're not Jay-Z.
Yeah.
You're not getting, you're getting residuals on plays.
So now the writers in Hollywood or whatever are catching up to this. It's like, hey man, like it's our IP, but we were under a contract. So now hopefully they won't sign any more contracts like that anymore.
Well, and like with streaming. So it's not like, when you watch a live show, you have an estimated Nielsen of how many people watch this show. So hey, this show's doing great. You had 5 million views this week.
You can
These
leverage
writers kicking
that.
ass.
You can leverage that for your.
But when it's streaming, someone loves this show and watches it the same episode 30 times. You're the writer. You don't get any more money for that. But that content is being viewed again and again and again by somebody. It's being consumed. So you should be getting paid for the consumption.
And also they
Or
don't
leave the dishes in the sink, whatever you want to do.
They don't let those numbers out on purpose. Like Netflix won't tell you how many streams you're getting.
They do and they don't with certain shows. They release it like HBO, like their new show is failing because it's getting less than 1 million streams or whatever views. But like it's with TV and streaming, it's hard to keep track with streaming because when you're watching it on TV live, you know.
Yeah.
If you record it off TV live, that counts as
It's
a live
a metric that you can.
It's an easily measurable metric. However, have you ever met one person who was a Nielsen family? The Nielsen rating system is basically how they keep track of stuff, and they would send a box to your house.
I was in the Midwest.
Everything you watched would be recorded and monitored, and that's how they gauge what things were being watched.
Yeah, because those ratings would come out, and then they would decide on whether.
But it's based off just Nielsen families. People that were given, they would approach you and be like, "Hey, will you be a Nielsen family?"
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I had no.
Yeah.
Oh, so they would record their own data?
So back in the day, they would bring a box to your house. It would record what you watch. They'd go check the box to get the data.
Oh, gotcha.
So they'd come by once a week or every whatever X amount of time. Now, obviously, they just get the data immediately.
That's how they knew who was number one.
So I don't know if they still do it in 2023 or they just use the data off your cable box.
Yeah, they probably just use the data.
Because you'd have to say, I'm allowing you to use my data even though it's not my name.
Well,
but again, the writers would use that Nielsen stuff to make money, and now they're
and
not.
to leverage their next contract for the next thing they wrote on.
Because producers are making
Well, I was listening to Bert Kreischer on Rogan this week, and he was talking about movie theater releases versus streaming, and he said typically anyone really involved with the movie, like the writers and everyone, they make a better nut off of theater sales.
Yeah, and that's what he was saying. Bert was like, please go watch this in the theater. It'll help me more because of my staff.
Exactly, yeah. But he said when it goes to streaming, they go, well, how much did you pay to make it?
Yeah.
20 million. It's like, all right, we'll give you 25. And then that's it.
I'm obsessed with where he's at. I've looked at the machine box.
Now Netflix owns your thing. And, people aren't paying per download, but they're paying a monthly fee.
The machine just crossed into profit this week.
What was their budget?
Cheers to you, Bert.
Cheers, Bert.
We didn't support you by going to the theater. $10 million is what Bert said on podcast. He said it was like a little under $10 million. They're at $10,097,000 domestic. Worldwide, $10,271,000. Not doing real good overseas.
Those aren't.
But he wanted to make Fat Astronauts if it did well. The movie with him and Tom's quest to come in space. Because as they brought up on their podcast, I don't mind stealing this content. No one knows what happens with the ejaculate in space.
Just ask Chris Hadfield.
It's not talked about though. You can't figure this out.
Maybe that's like the one taboo subject that they'll never talk about.
Here's the thing:
it's like a magician revealing.
The next time Elon Musk is on fucking Rogan, I guarantee you, Tom's gonna be like, "Yo, you got to find out."
Hit this weed and then tell me.
And then ask Elon Musk what happens to because if you don't jack off, it's coming out one way or the other. Either you get it out yourself or it's gonna come out by itself when you're sleeping.
Yeah, nocturnal emissions.
Yes, and so do they have a spaceport? They jack off and goes out into the.
I mean, you pee into a thing.
Well, you recycle the pee but you're not recycling the nut.
Oh, for body lotion? Yeah.
Yeah. Or just for showers. Golden?
Pearl essence.
But it's got to go somewhere. So speaking of things that have gone somewhere, this conversation has gone somewhere way off. But you know what doesn't ever seem to go anywhere, Paxton?
What's that?
Is goddamn people panhandling on the back of their cars.
Now, we've let the subject rest for a little while because we haven't got that many entries into this little world, but we've had a few this week.
Shout out to Bailey for sending me this. It's parked illegally at the Kroger on Wilmington Island, and next to a handicap space, blocking in a handicapped car in the white line space where you don't park. It's not a drop-off zone. There's no one in the vehicle. It's just parked illegally. Buy the bride a drink. Cash App. $ Molly, MOLLIECOY. Cash App. That's Molly, MOLLIECOY.
I will tell
Molly
him your
Cow, huh?
name.
Wow.
Buy the bride a drink.
Okay, so just a little more explanation of this.
Please don't.
Wait,
Wow.
guess, let's play a game here because you didn't see a picture of Kelly. Guess where they're from.
I'm gonna say Florida.
I'm going to go with North Carolina.
The Florida of the Midwest, Ohio.
Oh, dude, Ohio
I
came to my
thought that
mind
was
at
too
the very
easy.
beginning. I was like, that's too easy, man.
Yeah.
You would think. And so, like,
All right, so in the front of this Kroger specifically, or most grocery stores, all right, that white line space, I've seen geriatric old men dropping their geriatric wives off right there to
My
walk in
folks
the
are those
store
people.
yes.
and then do a lap or something until the wife comes out. Even though that's not like technically what it's for, but
They're not parking there.
yeah, they just drop the old
And I'm
woman
just going to
off.
go out on a limb and say this bride from Ohio, not disabled.
Yeah, not geriatric.
Not physically disabled, mentally
Molly-
disabled
Molly
for
Cow.
sure. Because she definitely did not send back the money that was requested to her, bitch. But not to be outdone, later on that day,
There's always
there's
more.
there's always somebody else. I can't remember. I think it was Patrick Burns, I think, sent this to me. If it was you, Patrick, thanks. If it wasn't you, I don't remember.
We got a street team.
This one's at least written, like, the writing's better. The other one looks like I wrote it. It's
So they're
terrible.
getting residuals from their writing?
Yeah. Look, this is written nice. Like, it's good cursive writing.
Okay, I got you.
Last,
even a drawing of the ring.
drawing, last fling before the ring. Venmo at Abby Maria, ABBIERHEA 19.
What a weird way to spell Abby.
Abby Rhea.
Of course.
And shout out to Nancy. Is she related to diarrhea? First cousins with gonorrhea? And I was like, oh my God, if I had seen this before I posted this, I could have been like, request money for gonorrhea treatment for
That could have almost
It's
been.
the quote of the week.
It almost could have been. Yeah, I mean, that could be yours if you want. I have a funny one. So a guy that comes in all the
that
time.
wasn't funny?
Let me tell you a funny one after that. Fart knocker. This dude that hangs out at the bar all the time. 60s. Very nice gentleman. Drinks Bud Light. And don't mess with nobody, kind guy. But he's not he doesn't have a lot of quips. He's not like a shooting zingers out there all the time. He's not like Johnny on the spot with the quotes or whatever. So he drinks Bud Light religiously. He's like, I'm not changing for anything. I don't care. This is what I drink.
Shout out to Shane Gillis doing the same shit. Shane's like,
He's
I ain't
like,
stopping.
this is what I drink, man. Whatever. So again, and I wish this thing would die, but it won't. So someone said something like, Bud Light, blah blah
boy.
blah, whatever. He goes, do you go to church? And the lady was like, yeah, I go to church. He goes, did you stop going to church when you found out that priests were diddling kids?
yes.
She goes,
Bud Light?
oh. Literally, just like Anna Nicole Smith losing her shit on
It
stage.
came to her?
Lights went on this time. She goes, oh, you know what? Drink your Bud Light.
Touche.
Touche, brother.
Yep. Because,
I mean,
That poor guy had that in his hip pocket
yeah.
for
man,
a minute.
you're probably right.
one
Yeah,
night.
because it doesn't seem like he's
you said
he's
he's
not
not-
off the dome type of guy.
But man, well, I mean, that's like I said last week to the anonymous person who I definitely did not.
I won't tell me your name.
I've been refraining from hitting that because that fucking song gets stuck in my head.
It's bad. That in the
Bad.
quote of the week jingle. I woke up to the quote of the week in my head today. It was great. It won't go away. It's just and it's too quick too.
Oh, yeah.
This is not a long song, but
Then you finish it. in your
but I
head.
was sending this person they sent me Bud Light queer beer stuff, and I would send them back like pastors and stuff that were like kid touchers and child porn havers and stuff. And I'm like, this is I don't see you outraged about all of this. Don't go to church because the kid might get fucked. Don't drink Bud Light because they might send a can to a dude who didn't like his dick. Who cares?
Isn't there better things in your life to care about?
Yeah. Like, it's just not.
Like who got elected president?
Who?
I was at the store and I see this shirt and it says D's nuts on the back. But the guy wearing it was a white-haired white gentleman, probably in his 60s. And I'm kind of far away from him. So I just saw
A homemade shirt or like a monogram?
No, it's like a real deal. I just saw D's nuts. When I got closer to get into the line, it goes, who elected D's nuts? And it was Biden and Kamala or whatever. And I was like,
That's kind of funny.
I was like, no, it's super funny, but I was like, it's really funny that it's like an appropriation of like D's nuts, like that's
I was thinking you were saying like a guy that sells peanuts.
Yeah.
There's D's Nuts Peanuts. I'm sure all the country.
Kev's Hot Nuts.
Kev's
down
Hot Nuts,
here?
yeah.
That's hot nuts.
So on River Street, where I've never worked once in my life,
Not even 5 years ago.
not 5 years ago, at night on Fridays, like it was when we were kids, but even more so now that the River Street's nicer, there's a parade of the same people I see, the same vehicles, week after week. And the three-wheelers, motorcycle thing, the trike thing, you know, the two in front, one in the back,
Two in the
slingshot.
front, slingshot.
Yeah. I'm not keeping track where their wheels are, but they'll ride by, booming. I mean, louder than all hell music. They're always together. Like on last past Friday, there was 5 of them. This past Friday, 5 years ago, there was 5 of them in a row, all playing loud ass music, all different.
All
music.
different, of course. Yeah.
The second vehicle. So you think the slingshot's a primarily black dude, like a middle-aged black guys drive the slingshot more than anybody else. But there's in the midst of this crowd a man older than my father playing Chingy, right here.
I like the way you do that right there.
But he's not. He's so like
Not
stoic.
even bumping to
I'm like,
the
is he
music?
just selling these things? And he's just like, he's the guy that owns the company. Because like this guy, and like every time I see the same guy, it's always like early 2000s hip hop, and I'm like, is this guy into this? Like he would have been in his 40s when this came out.
Or did he ask the people that he rides with, like, hey, give me a playlist to play?
Yeah, because it's not a big variety of songs, but also like, hey guys, you all together? Maybe. Let's all get in tune here.
Man, that would be so hard to sync up. I was just thinking about the logistics of that. I was
No,
like,
it's not. I've done it. Not in a car. Back when the first of the month, Bone Thugs and Harmony, the first Bone Thugs and Harmony album came out,
I had
was all
that
over it.
single on tape. A
The
single.
Suckers Ruggers Bone or first of the month?
First of the month. Just
I'll know every word to the first of the month when I don't know my own name. So my buddy at the time, this guy, I don't even know say his name. He sucks. Don't even use the button.
I'm
for
not-
This guy
I'm
blows
not
ass.
touching
He was a spoiled brat. So in his room, he had a stereo better than my dad had in his house, and his parents downstairs had one even better. So 1, 2, 3, boom. At the first, the whole house is rocking to the song in unison, and it only took a couple tries to get like in unison, and like it sounds better than you guys are back to back to back, just sound bombing each other.
And it's just, especially like all those differing frequencies, it's just a mess. Now, if you're sitting on the slingshot or whatever, I'm sure that all you can hear is your own stuff.
I mean, maybe, but like, and also driving on the slingshot down cobblestones does not sound fun to me, because you know what's not fun to me is that same Friday night, I'm talking to a table, I hear ah, and I'm like, what's that noise? I turn around, and out of the back of a pickup truck has fallen a teenager onto the cobblestones, head on the cobblestones.
I know.
And I kind of see the noise, and people run over to him. The vehicle
I saw the noise, man.
continues on
Well, yeah.
because they don't realize, because they're jamming music
I
loud
was
as
about to
shit,
say, were they bumping music?
that dude fell out of the truck. So I'm not.
Day ever.
You're not my table. I'm not applying first aid. And so the truck drives off. I'm busy. I have to go back inside and do something. I come out. A bachelorette party has stopped to help this man. 1 or 2 of them is a nurse, I guess. And the bachelorette is down there on her knees helping this guy like get his
Not like
faculties together.
CPR.
No, he's just bleeding.
Yeah.
He's bleeding pretty profusely because cobblestones.
Cobblestones
are hard as
don't.
shit.
They
They don't give a lot.
They don't give.
Yeah, and these are old cobblestones, not like those new cobblestones
Those old pissed off cobblestones.
from Carl's Cobblestone R Us.
Carl's Cobblestone Cottage.
Yeah. Anna Nicole's Carl. Okay. Let's go too far. So, but this dude, he's bleeding, and like they're helping him. These are the bachelorettes that don't write their Venmo in the back of their car for sure. The truck figures out what's going on. On River Street, you have to go back up a ramp and come back around. So it's a one-way
It's a
street.
one-way. Was he the only guy in the back, I guess?
No. So I didn't.
The other people in the back didn't see him?
I think there was just one other guy in the back. I think he was hitting the window, and the guy was like, yeah, da, da, da. But once you get to a certain point, you got to come back around. You can't just back up. So they had to go through the tunnel back around.
It's one way, and it's extremely crowded all the time.
Yeah, so it takes them a minute to get back around. They park kind of in front of the restaurant in the room I'm working at 5 years ago. I can see out the window. I can see the truck.
Yeah.
And the guy driving gets out and goes back there, and the back there giving him shit because he was going too damn fast. Now, granted, they're from Effingham. Hey, boy, I don't even know how to out of the back of a truck. I've never fallen out of the back of a truck on cobblestones because you had to have one hand holding on. But I think the dude was probably showboating or whatever.
Sure.
Doing the stinky leg, whatever kids do. But he fell out. And so
Dabbing.
the girl's giving the guy driving shit about driving off and coming and that just happening. And he starts like berating her. And I'm like, I'm watching this out of the window happen in front of the window. I'm involving my tables, obviously. Like, look at this. Here's what happened. Look at this nonsense. And then, like, bloody shirt guy that's back there with a shirt on his head just walked back over to the truck to get back in with his buddies. They let him get in the cab this time.
Oh, how sweet.
But the dude's like trying to argue back with the chick, and like the mass of social support she got from people that were like had gathered around. The dude was like, turned his music down and drove off.
Jesus.
Old truck, new truck.
Old white beat up pickup truck, dually.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you couldn't hear him, and it like loud exhaust, loud music, not good. Wasn't chingy, but it wasn't good.
There's a parade of like down here in the South, we call them donks, right? It's basically a Caprice or an old LTD or something
Yeah.
like that, where the front is lifted just a smidge, always big rims. Sometimes it's got a drop top, sometimes it doesn't. But the classic is the Caprice, like mid to late
Caprice,
80s.
a hoopty.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And I love those cars, like the aesthetic of them.
Oh yeah.
But the thing is, those things aren't built for sending out bass frequencies into the world. So it's literally just.
And the thing is, you can dynomat the inside, which I did when I had a 1995 Buick LeSabre with 212s in the trunk, and it would. When I first put them in there, it was like, and I was like, all right, now.
But see, sitting in the car, you're fine.
Yeah, but I
outside of the
dynamatted
car-
it and like secured the license plate, so it didn't do that. And like, if I drove out people, I would turn it down because I didn't want to.
That's the main thing, that license plate.
I mean, I had a 12 and two different pickup trucks that were single cab, and it would rattle the truck bed.
Damn, son.
Yeah. Look, I like the bass.
You
son.
rattled your friend out of it.
This is my first vehicle I've ever owned, like my primary, the Beamer. It's the first car I've ever owned that I haven't put it like a new stereo in because you don't have to in a BMW or most new cars now. Sounds so good, you don't have to place a stereo anymore.
Yeah, and you
but I
know-
had the 2010 Hyundai Sonata. I had those 12s from the Buick in my garage for like 6 months after I got the Sonata, and Shay was like, "What a truck will pick."
You have a power amp and everything?
I think they'll fit in there. So Shay and I, it was like an inch clearance between the trunk and the speakers. We installed it within like 2 hours and rattling around, baby.
Hey, whatever. Hey.
But the donks drive down. They're down River Street.
Yeah, and there's like 10 of them all in a row, and it's a literal car show.
So here's the thing: if the cars are nice, it's a nice car show. But sometimes all their money went into the stereo.
But a slingshot show, I don't.
And like people are like out. It's like 9:30. People are like having dinner with their family, and it's like, rah, 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 rah. And it's like no one. It's
Yeah,
you're having fun in your car,
that's fine.
but you're bothering everybody else.
It's bad etiquette.
Yeah. If you want to cruise River Street, looking at people, do your thing.
I get it, man. Be seen. See and be seen.
But
Like,
don't be seen, not heard.
That's the like
Kelly, use that in your art class.
like a good something that sounds good inside of your car.
We need to have a week every week. We need to give Kelly a note on what to do as a teacher, even though we have no business doing that.
No.
That's Kelly's our teacher note of the week. This one: be seen, not heard. Guess what? I've heard a lot.
What? It's a
It is a lot of sandwich.
You got me good. You did. My neighbor the other day was like, "Hey, were you on that Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dive show on Tybee?" I was like, "Yep, it's a lot of sandwich." And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Didn't pay enough attention."
didn't get the reference.
You haven't had to watch this 30 times.
Well,
But the donk rides are nice. So we don't really have Karens this week.
yeah.
We're not going to have to play the song. But I just want to give. We talked about restaurant or dining etiquette. Guest etiquette in the first half. A little bit of restaurant etiquette here. Okay. 1, turn your music down when you ride by. 2, if you have children, you come to a restaurant. I get children are going to make a mess. Thank you, tablets, for entertaining kids more so than ever now. But if you're given crayons and things to play with, or if you brought in your own stuff for your kid to toy around with, if your kid makes a gigantic ass mess, crayons, paper everywhere, things we don't sell, Cheerios, whatever, everywhere, all in a surrounding area. I understand you might have 3 kids, you really can't get to cleaning that up, but you need to pay the person cleaning it up more than you were going to pay them anyways, because
Or at least show some effort.
some effort. Yes, do something to be like, hey, my bad.
Yeah.
But because I've got a foretop of adults over here, you know what they're not doing? Throwing Cheerios on the floor, and they're tipping me better, if not the same as you. And I provided the same service. You're just like, you clean up my mess because I'm a shitty parent. And the crayons, it should be a 25% tip or more if your kids make a mess. I understand kids are going to make a mess, but pay for it. If you can't afford to pay for it, stay your ass at the house or get one less Diet Coke for the table there, Shirley.
Yeah, go visit someone. Don't call them and just cook with all of their utensils in their house.
I'm going to come in your house next week and throw Cheerios everywhere.
instead of going out to eat.
Yeah, just don't make, don't
Well, it's
be-
always the worst whenever you walk up. It's like, we don't sell Cheerios, and there's a million of them surrounding the table. Here's another little piece of etiquette for you. So this happened on Saturday. We were swamped. I mean, it's just, this is the first,
It's been very nice this weekend, too. It's been
first real summer day where it's like busy all day.
the weather's been nice. We've had shitty weather.
Everyone's out. So our kitchen gets backed up like pretty quick. A guy comes up. He was like, hey, can I order 2 slices, maybe to go? I was like, yeah, look, kitchen's at least an hour. He goes, well, what about for this or that? I'm like, everything's an hour no matter what. I kind of predicted there would be like 40 minutes, but I always overshoot just to,
Yeah.
I wrote it on the ticket as well, the time. That was the first one that night where I wrote the time that he ordered it on the ticket.
You had a feeling?
So that if he had, here's the thing though, typically I write that down when I think someone's going to be like, hey, where's it at? It's been this long.
Any guy wearing a watch is a suspect.
He didn't do that though. He came back up. He goes, hey, what's up with the pizza? And I was like, and this is like 20 minutes later, he knew it as well. He goes, any word on the pizza? I was like, I'll go look, but at least another 20 minutes. He goes, I'm just going to cash out without the pizza.
Oh, boy.
I was
But
like,
you've ordered pizza. It's in. It probably hasn't been made yet. But it
probably
could-
not at that point. Yeah.
But still,
I was like, you know what? That's fine, man. I know it's crowded in here. It's taking a long time.
let me
whatever.
ask you this: do you go, okay, hold on, I got to go stop pizza production before I cash you out? To at least make him wait a little longer. That's what I'm doing. Anytime someone changes something after I've already put the order in,
Okay.
I go, stop what we're doing right now. I got to go fix this immediately because the kitchen needs to know fast.
Typically I would, but on a night like that night,
It was going to cost you more time than it was worth.
yeah, exactly. Because I had so many people out there. Even Tragic Mike was like, I walked back here one time and I was like, damn, I've never felt sorry for Paxton before.
Damn.
And at the end of the night, it didn't really reflect in the money either. But that's beside the point.
Yeah.
But
So
so
you get any Cheerios at least?
so the dude, he was like, no, man, it's cool, man. Like, I get it, whatever. So cashes out, credit card. I don't look at it right away. I'm very busy. About 2 tickets later, I was like, oh, let me just flip back and look.
Oh, boy.
0. I was like, look, man, I did you a favor by not making a deal out of,
You're not paying for food you ordered.
yeah.
20 minutes ago.
And I was like, hey, buddy, I told you how long it was going to be. Like, I really told you how long it was going to be. Subsequently, the 5 people after that I was like, hey, it's going to be an hour, they were like, perfect, man, we get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't expect anyone walking into a restaurant on a Friday or Saturday night expecting to get food fast is an idiot. Like it's especially you can walk in and look around and go, oh, there's people in here.
Look around you a little bit, man. It's
I mean, even if you walk into a Chinese takeout place and there's nobody in there, it's Friday or Saturday night. Guess what? They're probably busy or their food sucks. You don't want it. You don't want beef either way. Beef lo mein.
and you can't like they can't see into the kitchen where there's like 40 pizza boxes stacked up
Yeah, we're at tickets for days.
because of to-go orders.
Hell yeah.
It's just not.
Speaking about tablets for kids, you are tablet-less tonight.
Because
Tablets.
I don't know. I couldn't find it today.
Do you think?
Okay, so I took it. We had some drinks after the podcast last week. I know you would think if you could ever hear the Patreon, Paxton will post one day that we did the week before that because
I'll post that Patreon
yeah,
tonight.
it's so long we skip a week. But so I took a cab home at late o'clock, and I don't ever leave stuff in a cab. I always get out, and I had like a big pink bag. I carry my tablet and stuff in. It's like a grocery bag. It was my mom's, whatever. I got this big pink bag, so I have never misplaced it. And so like I started looking for it, 10 minutes before I'm about to leave the house tonight. I'm like, so I look everywhere.
Oh, you hadn't thought about it until you were leaving to
Yeah,
come
because
here
I
tonight.
basically just use it for the podcast or to
Yeah.
read comics. And I haven't read any comics or anything, or read books or whatever.
When you walked in, you said, hey, did I leave a pink bag here last week? I was like, I don't think you did, but you're not the type that leaves.
No, I don't leave my stuff laying around anywhere or my dishes or anything. And
Ew, call
but and maybe the thing is, I was in an Uber, so you think the Uber driver looked back there and was like, oh, the next passenger was like, hey, there's a pink bag with a tablet in it, with something someone would need.
And it's a giant pink bag.
It's a giant. He did not notice this bag. The next person didn't just walk off with it. Nobody gets into a cab and goes, oh, a pink bag with like, I mean, there's a tablet in there, maybe like an empty food container.
I was gonna say probably an empty fuck container.
Like-
All right, so let's just
a T-shirt.
let's just play it like you did leave it in there because you searched your house. I'm pretty sure it's not here. So let's say you did leave it in there.
It's been a week.
So the recourse you have is you can't send the Lyft driver a message.
So when you get back onto Lyft or Uber, it makes you tip and rate them first, or you can just skip that process. I figured out how to skip it. So you can skip it and give them nothing. So I'm like, do I rate the guy 5 stars, fat tip, and then ask for it? And then he's like, oh, I've been saving this for you, which he could have contacted me. Or do I just go, hey,
So they can contact you through the app.
they can contact, I'm sure Uber, there's a way to contact the, like, hey, you have something in this vehicle. So
yeah,
I'm going
yeah,
to contact him
yeah,
after the
yeah.
podcast, like, hey, because I don't want him to call me during this and be like, hey, look, I left the bag. I'm going to say it direct. I left a bag in your car last Tuesday.
You better be more Pacific. Be like, I left a giant pink bag with stuff in
Well,
it. You can't just say
you
a bag.
contact him through the app. It'll tell him what time it was.
Yeah,
He'll
yeah.
remember me. I'm sure I was talking a bunch. And so, go, yeah, 'cause he was a quiet talker. But like he has a ton of drives. So like, do you think you would just be like, hey, here's yours? Because like, here's the thing. He brings that bag to me. He's getting like $20.
Super fat tip. Yeah.
Yeah.
At least you're not like
And I'm not
you
gonna throw any Cheerios in his car.
leave the Cheerios at home, kids.
Yeah.
Not like Yo-Yo Ma leaving a Stradivarius cello in a New York City yellow cab.
That happened.
But luckily, that cab driver was like, hey.
Yo.
Yo.
Yo. He was familiar with the phrase yo in New York cab drivers. Yo.
You left this big stringed instrument in the back, which is crazy because Stradivarius, if you don't know, and I'll make this quick, I promise. The reason Stradivarius violins and cellos are so sought after and expensive, number one, they were made from Ice Age wood that was buried underneath like a riverbed and had been frozen over forever. They would retrieve this wood, and the Stradivari was like the best luthier of violins back in Italy back in the day, and he only made
Stradivarius.
He only made X amount of cellos and violins. So this is a like cool $1 million at least back in the 90s when he left it in there. But
And this is pre-internet, so you could. But if you pawn, where do you take the Stradivarius?
you're trying to.
Your fence cab better be really
You
good.
better have the best. It's like those guys that
Every
robbed
prop
that,
Joe, man.
the Swedish guys that robbed the Rembrandt. It was a Rembrandt, a Matisse, and another like famous painter's painting. And they're like, where are you going to sell these things at? Like one of the most
You have to sell them to somebody who's uber wealthy and private.
Saudi,
like a Saudi
yeah.
Yep.
People that run the PGA, you
Some
mean?
chic.
Yeah, right.
I mean, they got what they wanted.
I just heard that they bought it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
But all those guys love going to the Live or whatever it's called because like
Well, they got big contracts. They got paid a ton of money. to
yeah,
go there.
and you get to kind of like
But-
party and chill.
And the PGA guys were like, they were told, "Oh, stay strong, do this," and that because like Travis Udon talks about it on Hot Grits episode last week. Shout out to Hot Grits always. And it's like, look, these guys were getting $1 million contracts to go, and these guys were told to stay because like the guy that runs PGA or whatever was like, the Saudis are terrible and their money contributed to 9/11. Think about those families. Said all that, and then a year later does a backhanded deal with them. And it's like, sorry, we had to do this business. Like, well, now that we don't care about the families in 9/11 because you brought that up.
yeah.
So do you not care anymore?
You broke the seal, buddy.
You need to step down.
Never forget. Never forget.
Never forget.
Never
brother.
forget it. Well, never forget that this has been a good week.
It's been a good week.
The
So
week stayed put.
just some inside baseball. We came in like, do you have anything? No.
Oh, I got a couple of things. I didn't get to half of them.
Yeah, I didn't get to half of my notes. I was like, man,
I didn't
this-
get to praline cheesecake eating retard.
That's probably for the best. We love you guys. Thank you for if you're still here.
It's not special needs.
If you're still here, we love you. Please, it's free to subscribe to our YouTube channel, YouTube From Behind the Barcast, Instagram, and Patreon. Patreon.com/From Behind the Barcast, where I will post.
A lengthy Patreon.
I'm
Where,
gonna-
again, I want to reinforce some things were promised at the end of the episode that are not happening.
I'll just cut those parts out.
There's not any gold after it. Yeah, cut that part out.
I think that was at the very end. Yeah. I'm
Yes.
gonna have to review it a little bit.
You're gonna have to review. Yeah, I also want to review it. A lot of it. It's been asked about.
It is a lot of sandwich.
That was a lot of sandwich. All right, guys. Kelly, welcome back. We're glad to have you.
Thanks.
It's a lot of it.
We will see y'all next week.